please welcome Robin to the stage.
Hello. I'm so glad you guys did that first bit first, because it let me calm down for a wee minute. So this is so terrifying. Okay. Before you have to sit and listen to me ramble for the next 10 minutes, I want to start by saying a massive congratulations to every single one of you. I can only imagine the mix of emotions in the room, the relief, the excitement, and maybe a few of you are probably thinking, okay, what do I do now? It's a huge achievement to be sitting here today, and you should all be incredibly proud of yourselves. Every late night, every early start, every I cannot look at another essay ever again moment has led you here. So congratulations. And hopefully, in sharing my own wild and slightly unconventional journey with you today, there will be something in that that supports you in the next stage of your life and your career, though I can't promise it'll be the bit about my tattoo. I also want to say a massive thank you to Fife College for all the support you've given me personally over the last 5 years. It genuinely does mean a lot to be speaking here today. And I would love to stand here and tell you I'm confident enough to do this completely off the cuff, because normally I just wing everything, but I cannot get away with winging this today, so I'm reading off notes. I want to start with this reminder. Opportunities now do not come looking for you. You have to go and ask for them. If I hadn't sent one single email during COVID asking if Fife College would like a free Zoom workout for their staff, I genuinely would not be standing here today. That one email, just me sitting in my house thinking they'll probably say no, but I'll try anyway, led to a fun Zoom workout, which led to an employee wellbeing programme in partnership. And now I'm standing here speaking at your graduation. But when I was asked to speak at this, my first reaction was honestly, why me? Other than the partnership my business now has with the college, what could I possibly say that's relevant at graduation? Because I actually failed most of my higher education. And that's when I realised, looking back over the last 5 years, that Fife College actually played a much bigger role in my journey, just not in the usual way. So before we go any further, my name is Robin Drummond, and I'm an online health and fitness business owner, entrepreneur, and definitely chronically stressed. Just kidding. I help people feel good in their bodies and improve their health without the harmful messaging that's so common in the fitness and diet industry. I became the coach that I needed when I was 18, when I was struggling with my own relationship with food, exercise, and my body. At the time, all I really wanted was to feel good and to feel confident, and I ended up getting caught in the diet culture and ended up with an eating disorder. But let me take you back to 2013. I actually was a student at Fife College, which I don't think many people actually knew that. I tried to get into a fitness course originally, but because I left school with no qualifications, I didn't get into the one I applied for. When I moved to Fife at 17, I tried to fit into a school where friendships were already well established, and it didn't work out. At the time, I didn't know I had ADHD, and I didn't know why writing felt incredibly hard. I had one higher left to complete, and because I couldn't finish it, I had to leave school altogether, which meant, again, no qualifications. But when I finally got accepted into Fife College, it wasn't for fitness, it was actually business management, which is honestly hilarious because I had absolutely no intention of ever owning a business, and I probably should have done that course, that would have helped. Seeing as I overshare online for a living, I got access to a loan, and that loan meant I finally had the chance and the financial ability to do the thing that I wanted to do most, and that was become a personal trainer. So I quit Fife College. Sorry. There's nothing wrong with college, but and I got qualified privately. And the reason that I even had the confidence to make that decision was because of a woman that I'd met in my business management class. She said something to me that stuck so deeply that I ended up tattooing it on my back. Fortune favors the brave. Now, I would not necessarily recommend tattooing inspirational quotes that people you've only just met for 8 weeks say to you, but here we are. I do like mine, it's quite nice. But genuinely, that was the first moment I ever took a real risk on myself, and I didn't know it then, but that willingness to trust myself to take the risk is the skill that shaped everything that came next. Fast forward a few years, I was working as a gym instructor on a 0-hour contract, and I'd just taken the second biggest risk of my career, leaving a prestigious event supervisor job, the kind of job where I got to work at events with people like David Attenborough, to deep cleaning treadmills. And I loved it, because I loved being the person who made someone's first experience in the gym a positive one, because we all know what it can feel like to walk into those places. And I didn't care how many machines I had to clean. I just knew this was where I was meant to be. And then COVID happened. I was a bit late to the party with the transition to online fitness and online work. I remember telling my employer that my anxiety was really bad and I couldn't do it. However, I thought, right, I'll make a little free Facebook group for the people who used to come to my fitness classes, and there was just about 20 people in it. The original plan was to host a quiz, not to accidentally start a business. But instead, I started doing live workouts from my attic with an old iPhone propped up against a bookcase. No lighting, no fancy microphones, no plan. And I kept showing up because movement was the one thing that helped me manage my anxiety when everything in the world felt overwhelming. And I knew it was having the same impact on others. What started as a Facebook group in my attic turned into a program with over 1,200 paying members in the first year. And suddenly, I had a very, very real business and still absolutely no idea what I was doing. Should have really stuck at business management. Since then, the Scottish Parliament have recognised the work that I've done. I've won 5 business awards. I've partnered with Fife College in the programme Becoming an Employee Benefit. I've toured schools all across Fife to teach young people about health and fitness. I somehow became an ambassador for Active IQ, which is the UK's largest fitness awarding body. And yesterday I found out that on Tuesday I'm going to Belfast to be on the panel for TEDx. It was chaotic, it was messy, and it wasn't perfect. But none of this happened because of luck. It happened because I took the risk and trusted myself, cleaned the treadmills, and showed up for those inductions like that hour was the most important of someone's life. And that's where it all started. And now my mission is to create a wider impact to help reshape the way we think and talk about health, diets, weight, and nutrition, to support the person whose relationship with food has been harmed by years of dieting, to support the young people in school who are growing up influenced by social media, believing they have to look a certain way to be accepted. I want to help them before the world tells them to shrink themselves the way that it did to me. To support the busy mums who have spent years putting everyone else first, who don't think they deserve time for themselves, helping her find herself again in a way that feels realistic. Because simply the messaging around exercise and nutrition needs to change, and this is why I still do what I do. So, standing here now, 5 years into my journey, not just in business, but in figuring out who I am and what I want my life to look like, I want to just finish today by sharing a few things I really wish someone had told me at the start. One of these days I'll do a talk and not have a dry mouth, so I need to keep stopping. Whether your next step is going straight into work, continuing your education, starting something on your own, or you're still deciding, this applies to you all. Progress comes from the boring, unsexy stuff. There are no hacks, there are no magic secrets, and there is no big quantum leap. It's just doing the small, simple things over and over again. Even when it's boring, and even when you'd rather throw your laptop out the window, your life is built in the tiny choices you repeat daily. Failure is not a sign to stop, it's just information. I have failed more times than I have succeeded. I have lost thousands of pounds invested in things I didn't need. I've worked with mentors I shouldn't have, and I've launched programs that didn't go well. And this year, honestly, there was a point that I was the closest I've ever been to not believing in myself anymore. But every failure taught me something I needed for the next step. Nothing was wasted, it was just uncomfortable learning. Number 3. We only have 3 more. It's completely okay to change your mind. The path you're choosing today does not have to be your forever. You're allowed to start something and then realize, actually, no, this isn't for me. We act like changing direction means failure. It doesn't. You are allowed to try things and outgrow them. You're allowed to walk away from things that don't feel aligned to you anymore. Your environment matters, and this one means a lot to me. You cannot grow in environments that don't support who you're becoming. And yes, that absolutely includes the people that you surround yourself with. There were so many times I felt like the odd one out for wanting more from life, not in an arrogant way, but I know there's something in me that wants to do better. And please trust that. Surround yourself with people who expand you, not people who keep you small. They say sometimes comparison is the thief of joy, but I'd rather be in rooms with people who are more successful and have achieved greater things than me, so that I can go, well, how did they do that and how can I get there? And lastly, please take care of yourself. Do not abandon yourself in the process of building your life. Stress is not a personality trait, and burnout is not a badge of honor. And you will never feel fully ready. There will never be a moment where you wake up and think, yes, I've made it, I know exactly what I'm doing. It just doesn't happen. Do not wait to enjoy your life later, because the version of you who is sitting here today is the same person you once hoped you'd become. So please don't forget to enjoy the present, because where you are now is probably somewhere you didn't imagine you'd be. And don't miss the part, because you're so focused on where you think you should be that sometimes you forget that this is the point. Right here was everything that you ever wanted. Some of you know exactly what you're doing next, and some of you are sitting here thinking, I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing after this, and you do not need to have it all figured out. But please remember that fortune really does favor the brave. Be brave enough to take the risk, be brave enough to ask for the opportunity, and be brave enough to take the step even when you don't feel ready. And just to be clear, I am not responsible for any inspirational tattoos that may follow off the back of this talk. Thank you so much for having me, and congratulations to every single one of you graduating today. Thank you.